Hey, welcome back. If you didn't watch my last videos, my last like two, watch them before you watch this video, so you're kind of up to date with this car. Anyway, one of my subscribers had made a comment on my other video about wanting to buy one of my new Edges because he really wants one. That guy's cool as fuck. I forget what your name was. I saw it on there, but you're fucking cool as fuck. So, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Unfortunately, I can't bring myself to want to sell one of my cars yet. If I do, I'll contact you first, man, okay? But that led me to want to make this video about how I got to this point with all these cars, as far as like more so Mustangs, but in general of how this happened. I'm 30 years old, okay? You go back in time 10 years when I was 20. Well, 9 years when I was 21. I just met the old lady. I was with her for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden, I had a truck I was building. It was a 90 F250. I built the motor and the thing, did a whole bunch of work to it, clean, no rust. And I was dying to buy a Terminator. My ultimate dream car was and still is and always will be an '03 Sonic Blue Cobra. That's what I've always wanted. You know, I've had 20-something Mustangs, never got a Cobra yet. Had several opportunities to buy them, and it just never panned out financially for me. But basically what happened is, go back 2012, I think it was 2012. Got working full-time out of high school. I had no credit at the time. Most people don't out of high school. But I was responsible with my money. You know, I saved money, this and that and the other thing, and I was dying for a Terminator. And my mom said, well, I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you can save up half the money, I will co-sign the other half for a loan for you since you've shown me you're responsible. Now, obviously, at the time, I was over 18, but still, your parents, they want to help you succeed in life. I mean, I'm a parent. I would do the same for my kid. It's a deal. And I did. I was saving money up like crazy, working hours and shit, getting stuff done. And then, unfortunately, my dad died. And when that happened, a lot of shit changed. And the day after my dad died, I found out that the old lady was pregnant. And I was like, fuck. All right. So naturally, I did a responsible thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be a parent, man up. So I took the money I had saved up for my Terminator, and I bought my '08 Ford Edge. And I bought that June of 2013. So my dad died December of 2012. Found out I was having a baby in December of 2012, but the baby wasn't due until August of 2013. So I saved up a whole bunch of money. My mom co-signed a loan for the Edge, and I was like, all right, so I had a good family vehicle. At the time, it was only like 5 years old, 71,000 miles. Is a great vehicle, because at that time, in the summer, my rebuilt truck I restored had gotten totaled. Dumbass kid T-boned me. Well, hit the right front, ran a stop sign, hit me. So all I had for vehicles was my dad's old Dodge that was breaking down like crazy. We had the old lady's Saturn that was just an epic piece of crap that kept breaking down. And I had my '86 F-150 that I was on the process of fixing up, but it was a standard cab, 4-speed. It had a lot of issues, so I'm like, all right. So I traded that thing in for the Edge, traded the truck for a car I sold, and then we had the Saturn and the Edge. Naturally, I took the shitty car because I worked in the ghetto anyway at the time, so I was like, well, fuck it. Nevertheless, though, fast forward a couple of years, so we had the kid, everything like that. Love my daughter to death, don't get me wrong. But I was young. I really wanted to have a Terminator. And everybody around me had nice cars, Whether it be a street car, a race car, or something, but everybody was able to go out and have fun and spend money on their nice cars, and I had to buy a family vehicle, which I loved it. It was a great vehicle. But basically, I busted my ass for years and years and years after that to save up money. And this car, okay, I was buying and selling cars like crazy. Legally, I might add you to, not doing weird stuff, but I was actually, doing the 5 cars a year, made great money off it. Well, one day this popped up on Craigslist, 99 V6 5-speed, okay? The guy was asking, I think, like, I want to say $1,000 or $1,100 for the thing. It was just right around $1,000. And I was like, oh, man. Now, keep in mind, it had the V6 wheels that were just a crappy, like, I don't know what color they were, like the white they weren't the tri-spoke wheels, but they were like D wheels, almost like D cups. And then it still had all the rust and shit all over the thing. It's worse now, but it was not. It was still bad, but not as bad back then. But the ad said it needed a clutch. Well, it had a. He said when he would push in the clutch, it made a horrible, like whining, grinding noise. So I contacted the guy right away. I said, "Hey, can I come see the car right now?" And the old lady, I told her about it. I was like, "Hey, would you mind if I bought this car either to buy it and resell or at least buy and keep it?" She goes, "Buy it and keep it. You've wanted a Mustang forever. At least get this to have something." And I was like, "All right, cool." I was happy as could be because up to that point, I had never had a Mustang. Always wanted one, never could get one. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If this is the best I can ever get, it is what it is. I'll be happy. I can make this into something over the time and have a car I love. Went out there and the guy, cool as fuck, forget what his name was, younger dude, a little younger than me, had this for his first car. He's like, "I don't want to fix it." I'm like, "Yeah, it definitely needs a clutch. You can hear the throw bearing just making all sorts of noise." And he's like, "All right." So I told him, like, "Hey, would you go like $700? He goes, "No, I've had offers higher than that, but because you're the first one to message me," he's like, "How about 850? Or is it 800 or 850? And I said, "Deal." Paid for the car, cash, left it sit, told him I'll come back and pick it up the old lady. And then went back the next day, picked it up, drove it home, and I was just giddy with joy. I was so happy to have a Mustang finally. It was manual. I didn't care it had rust. I didn't care about the fucking the paint chips. This car had paint chips just like this back then. Paint hood is all fucked up. This actually is okay. I ended up breaking that by accident. This was not rusted out at that point, but that side was. I did the paint on that. And then there was a dent somewhere back here too. But yeah, I mean, it had damage, not quite this bad. But I was like, oh yeah, right here, that dent. But I didn't care. I was like, you know what? It's a Mustang. I love it. And I had all these intentions of building this car. I literally had a build list of stuff to build this car. All the stuff I did in the red car was what I wanted to do to this car originally. I was like, fuck yeah, happy as shit. So long. This is a long video, sorry, but I'm leading to a good point. But I had the car, left it sit. I had to clean the car. I got it in winter. I think I bought it in like February or some shit, or January. Well, I didn't have the money. I had enough to just buy the car, but that was it. And I had my shitty garage, my one-car garage, and I had to do shit outside. And I was like, it's winter. So, dude I knew helped me talk to my mom's house. And then come spring, I jacked it up, and I started busting workout. I did, before I actually could drive it, I did a rear diff service, rear shocks. I did rear shocks. Fuck, what all did I do this thing? I forgot all I did to it, but I did some work to it when I first got it before I did the clutch. Then I bought a clutch set for it, and when I went to do the clutch, I was unfamiliar with the T5. Had everything all done, went to fill it up, and I pulled out the fifth and reverse pivot on accident. I'm sure somebody out there has done it too. It's not just me. Well, it had no reverse, no fifth. I was like, son of a bitch. I pulled the tranny back out, which, funny enough, now isn't a big deal because I've done these so many times now that it's like an hour, I can have the tranny out. Like, it's not a big deal. I mean, I've taken out of that car fucking, I don't know how many goddamn times since I've owned it. And that's even more difficult than this car was. But at the time, I was pissed. So I pulled it out. That was like a month of fucking around. And then I got that all done. I had to rebuild. I ended up just rebuilding the tranny myself, gear, bearings and all that shit in there. But then after that, I ended up doing, whole clutch set. I did the rear diff service, rear shocks, front struts, front coil springs and isolators. And then I did a four-wheel brake job on it. The starter went out on this at work, so I did a starter, did a short throw shifter, bought a cold air intake from a guy on Craigslist, did a belt and a pulley. I put different headlights in this thing I got from a guy on Craigslist also. And I was cruising around. I repainted the car in areas to make it like, you can see how this That was me years ago to make it look less crappy. Um, and I was trying to make it look nicer. I put a different stereo in here. I had subwoofers in the thing I ran. And for me, I was happy. I was like, whatever. I finally got a Mustang. Everybody hated me for having a V6. I'm like, you know what? I can't afford nothing else. I have a kid to raise. My old lady was a stay-at-home mom. So, I did the best I could do with what I had. But I was happy. I didn't care. I still don't care. I'd be fine driving this around every day, even if those cars were gone. I don't have to have the best of everything. I don't care. I love a Mustang. A Mustang to me is the best thing in my world as far as for a car I want to drive. And whether it's a shitty V6 or a fucking Mach 1 or a GT or a 3, whatever, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But long story short, really long story long, I guess, I was enjoying this car. In the process, I had traded a plow truck I got for a 98 V6. Car is an absolute pile of shit worse than this car. Motor was had blown head gaskets. I pulled the heads off. The heads were fucking melted. So I parted that car out. It was just too far gone to do anything with. My buddy, after I bought this car, he liked it. And he's like, hey, I want to get one too. V6 5. So I was like, all right. Found a 94 or 95. It was red. No rust in the car. It was really clean. Weird guy had it for sale. I went and looked at the car. He was asking like 15 for the car. Basically, what ended up happening is I went out there and the guy, we were going back and forth for like 3 hours in this car because I wanted to buy it to resell it. My buddy didn't want the car. He was like, I don't want that. He didn't want the body style. The car needed a lot of work though. It needed a shifter and some other shit. But I was like, you know what? I could fix all this stuff. And I did. Got that car and we couldn't give the fucker away. I mean, we literally fixed everything with the car. It was in pristine condition. I fixed the AC. We put different seats in it, different center console, short throw. I mean, this car was nice. It had a lot of nice stuff to it. If I could have that car today, I would have kept it, and I'd be fucking building that car. But in 2016, all the people that wanted the V6 were all females that couldn't drive manual, and all guys that could drive manual wanted V8. And I was like, well, this is what the car is. Well, at that time, I was pounding hours out. The old lady got a better job. We had some money in the savings account. And that particular year at Automotion, in May, I did not take this car. I took the Edge up north or up there because my kid was still a baby, and I had my mom with me. And guy had a fucking Terminator driving right by me. And I was just like, oh, you lucky fucking bastard. And we got talking. He's like, dude, I love this car. But he's like, your kid's your kid. And I was like, I agree, But I was like, I love the car, man. Saw so many nice Terminators. I'm like, you know what? Went home, drove this, and I was like, I still love this car, but man, I'd like to get something. I'd like to get a V8 that sounds nice, because V6s, honestly, these cars don't sound good. Just my opinion, not hating on them. I'm just saying I don't think the V6s sound that good with an exhaust. Coincidentally, for my birthday in July, for those of you who want to know, my birthday is July 28th, so feel free to, say happy birthday on July 28th. That Mach 1 happened to be online. Now, at this time, I still had this car. I was parting out my 98 Mustang, and then I also had my red car I was trying to sell. Coincidentally, I literally saw that car on a Friday, called the guy on the thing. He's like, yeah, come on down Saturday. I said, all right, cool. No, I saw a car on a Sunday, I think. Yeah, I went to look at that car on a Sunday because all banks were closed. Saturday, though, a guy came out with his kid and bought my red car on Saturday. I think I made like $10 on my share of that car. I didn't make nothing off the car. I wanted the fucker gone. So I got my money back out of that. Went down there on Sunday, looked at this car. I put that cash down as a deposit for the Mach 1. Went to the bank Monday, got the money. Went down the following weekend and gave the guy the money for this car and then drove this car home. The first time I ever drove a Mach 1 after driving the V6, it was a night and day difference. And I'm telling you, anybody who ever drives, you go from something that's, like 190 horsepower to 320. For me, it was just a huge step. And I was like, this car is fucking amazing. I'm like, I drove it, and it was all stock. It had a cold air intake on it, under-drive pulleys, and some coil packs. And then it had the catback exhaust, and that was it. I hopped in that car, and the exhaust, it sounded so nice. I told the guy who was selling, like, dude, just so you know, I haven't driven a car that's fast before, like in a Mustang. I'm like, I have a V6. Do you want to drive? He goes, dude, you came all the way down here, drive the car. I said, okay. Man, I got in that sumbitch, and he's like, floor it. I was like, are you serious? He's like, floor it. Dude, I worked that thing up and down the street down in Illinois, man, and just loved the car. I said, dude, I'm taking this car. Here's your money. And so I went down the following weekend with my mom. We drove down, got the car, drove back up home. Giddy as all hell. I was so happy to have that car. I got home. I still have the picture where I parked next to this car, and I had both these blue cars sitting outside. I was ecstatic. I had 2 Mustangs. Here's the problem with that. Part of the deal I made with the old lady, which financially is responsible, is I said, if I buy that car, I'm going to sell this car. Mostly because at the time, again, 2 insurances on 2 sports cars when I was young, 2 registrations. I mean, you know, stuff costs money. And back then, we just didn't make the money we make now. And I said, you know, I'll sell this car. And my buddy's like, hey, how much you want for that V6? Because he was still looking for it. I said, well, here's the thing, man. I had like $2,700 something bucks in this car when I was done with it. You know, I had about $2,000 I put in this car. It was not even worth half of that the way it looked. He's like, I tell you what, I'll give you your full amount into it to help you out. I said, thank you. So he gave me like $1,000 down on this. He made payments for a couple of months till it was paid off. And I said, that car. Well, I ended up scrapping the rest of my 98 out, got rid of that. So I just had the 1 Mustang. And then fast forward, and the following winter I bought a 98 V6. It's a black car. Again, no rust. Again, if I found it now, I would keep it because it was in such nice shape. It's a 5-speed. Car had a whole bunch of stuff done to it. It had an exhaust on it, had tail lights, headlights. I mean, interior had Mach 460. It's a fucking amazing car. Bought it for dirt cheap, sold it for a shitload of money, put all that money, you know, towards back in the bank for this car here to, you know, recoup my money. I basically paid for that Mach 1 by buying and selling cars in a couple of years. Legally, of course, seriously, like don't be doing shit illegal, entitled jumping cars and whiting stuff out. Do it right, because that shall come back to bite you in the ass. But I had that car. And again, you know, I had those 2 V6 cars. I'm like, man, I wish I could have kept those. They were, if I could find those now and get them for the price I got them for before, I'd have 2 more cars in here. Wouldn't even think about keeping them. It'd be a definite, I'm keeping those 2 cars. Yes, they're both V6s. Do I give a fuck? No. I don't really care. A V6 is an engine. You can make a V6 fast. I don't really care. But the car itself, they were both just awesome cars. I paid nothing for them. And it just sucked I had to get rid of them because, you know, I'd love to have them now, especially the shop I could have. But anyway, so I ended up getting rid of those. That black car sold for a bunch of money. I got that. And then how else did this go then? So then I got rid of that car, or well, the 98. And then I believe it came up then when I need to look at my list. I haven't written down all the Mustangs I've had over the years. I believe what ended up happening is that's right, yeah. We ended up in 2018, the old lady got a job at a dealership. They had that car, 2009 Mustang GT there. And we were looking at buying a house, and we ended up buying that instead. She loved the car. I said, hey, let's buy it. It was clean, you know, blah, 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 blah. I had that. So I had that, and then I had the Mach 1. You know, we both had a his-hers thing. We both loved the cars. We'd go cruising, racing, whatever. It was awesome. And then I ended up trading a truck for a Pacific Green 96 Mustang GT automatic. That car, body-wise, too, was in pretty nice shape, but underneath it was rusted out. Like, the whole back of the car was rusted out, frame was broken. I mean, dude, every owner of that car stuck money into it like you would not freaking believe. I mean, I had money into it. The guy before me put money into it like it was a junkyard car. It was restored. And there was more money in parts than, like, a new car would have on it. Ended up trading that car for my green truck right there. And then after all that is when I got the red car from the same guy who gave me this car back. That was his uncle's car, so he sold me that one last year when I sold my Cobalt. That's how I got the red car. So I had the red car, the 3-valve, and the Mach 1, so I was back up to 3. And then after that, I had traded an old Aurora I got from my uncle. I bought from him to resell it. Couldn't give the fucker away. I traded a guy on Marketplace for a 96 Mustang GT 5-speed that was, I think, sat in a junkyard for fucking 15 years. It was a piece of shit car. That was the white car that I had on my channel that I was going to finish restoring. Well, I never did. I sold it to a buddy of mine. Then I got the Fox body and traded for my limousine. That was a piece of shit also. The Fox body I sold to a guy in Michigan who fucking blew the motor up in the sumbitch. Okay, so then you fast forward again. And then in November is when I found this blue car that had a blown engine. It was $800. I said, I'll fucking come pick it up right now. Well, the guy was asking more. I got him down $800 for the car. Then that, you guys all follow the channel. If you don't, look back into this history of this car from last November. Basically all restored. And then after that car is when I said, all right, I'm not going to buy any more fucking cars because I got, 4 Mustangs already. Well, then the gray car appeared. Lady, really nice lady, actually. My phone dinged, and when I was actually putting the motor back in this car, I saw that car. I'm like, oh, that'll be a perfect parts car for my rest of my cars. She's like, I don't want to see it parted out. You seem to actually fix Mustangs. Would you just buy it and fix it? I said, you know what? Yeah. Went down to her house. Her and her husband, really cool people. We made a deal in the car. Price-wise, I don't know. You take it or how you leave it. I don't think it was a great deal. I don't think it was a bad deal. I think it was a somewhat fair deal. Needs a shitload of work to it. Needs an engine also and some other stuff. You guys, again, if you don't follow the channel, go back in time a few months and watch the videos in that car and you'll see what I'm up against. I was hoping to have it done and just couldn't, but it's, stuff is getting there. So I'm like, okay, now I got this whole car to restore. I got to finish this car yet. This car needs to have the motor rebuilt. Plus the red car's up on stands to get that done. So I was like, all right. Plus, 3 valve needs fucking everything. Well, then he came out. We had I like to do too personal on this channel because with people these days. But we kind of like going out over this last weekend, and he came up here yesterday for a peace offering, and gave me the car back with a trunk full of parts for it. And I'm still not quite there to really want to talk to him still, but we'll see. But now I have this for project too. So now I got 6 Mustangs, all project cars. There will be a 7th Mustang coming too. The 3 valve here, we decided that we're probably not going to fix it. We're probably going to buy a donor car or buy a nice car and use this for a donor car. It's so far gone. I'm still going to attempt to try and straighten the frame myself in here and just try and make it and see how close I can get it. Truthfully speaking, the front end is the least of the issues. The worst of it, in my opinion, is this whole trunk section here is just all mangled in and just messed up. And, I don't want to spend $10,000 into a car that's worth $5,000. But it's got a perfect drivetrain, perfect interior. It's a perfect, and the car does run and drive still. So you'll be seeing another 05 to 09 Mustang, even if it's a V6. We're looking actually at buying a V6 car that automatic or manual is just a cheap, clean V6 with no rust, a clean-bodied V6 so we can get dirt cheap, pull all that stuff out of it, drop all this stuff into that car, and then my thought was, well, heck, for a fun little beat-around car for a little daily driver, this car has all perfect glass, and per Wisconsin law, you have to have 2 bumpers, 1 front and rear. All your lights have to work, and you got to have at least all the body panels on. Well, a big dent in the back, I can just weld the trunk shut. I don't need the trunk for anything. So my thought was if we end up getting a V6 that runs and drives, drop the V6 stuff in here and then drive that as a beat-around car, and then have all this stuff in the nice car to drive around, and then have 7 Mustangs. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to pass up Mustangs. If I can get deals on Mustangs, I'm going to buy more of them. That's how I am. I have a problem. I can't, we got this thing for free from our grandpa. Again, super nice guy. Just very, very nice guy. We needed help with vehicles. He's like, here, take this. Granted, the transmission blew up and it's only got first and second, but it works for me for going to work and back. So kind of where I'm at with this also is if you're wondering, how the hell does this guy have all these cars and all this stuff? I'm not rich. Let me tell you right now. I am so far from rich, I'm poor, okay? People always say, oh, you must be nice being rich. I'm like, yeah, it must be. I don't know it. This is free. Okay, that was expensive, but this was free. I paid that off by buying and selling cars. That basically, I recouped my money on that car by selling parts and cutting the cats off of it. This car here, I paid off by doing the same. I cut the cats off this and sold them. And I sold the Windsor heads off this and more stuff to pay for the car. So this car itself was free. It was just the mods is what cost me money. This whole thing was free. This truck I actually got on trade for a Pontiac back when I had my kid. I had a '05 Bonneville I paid like $800 for. And the guy had this listed in Illinois, so I traded him straight across for it. And I've had it ever since. But what I'm getting at is that it all comes down to what kind of deals you can get. You know, if you're a mechanical kind of person and you want a nice car, Mustang or other, look for ones that need work. That Mach 1 there was not in mint condition at all. That has accident history on the Carfax. That was in a ditch collision or something like that back in like 2005. The whole right side of the car was replaced, basically. The fender on the right side, the door, the hood, all that shit was replaced. Do I care? Not in the slightest. I paid $7,200 for that car in 2016. When I got it, it had 138,000 miles on it. Needed a pinion seal. It needed an ABS module. It needed rear brakes. The seat was torn, which I still haven't fixed. There were 2 holes in the dash I did have fixed. And then, God, there's something else wrong with that car too. It was bad. And I was like, all right, I'm a technician as it is anyway. And I did not want a car that was in mint condition. Because, if you have a mint condition Mustang, you don't want to drive the thing because it's going to go full of fucking rock chips, scratches, dust. I drive that car all the time. Now, I don't drive it in rain if I can help it. I don't drive it in salt or winter or snow, none of that shit. I don't do burnouts in gravel and this shit here. But I can go in that car and drive it and run it hard and enjoy it. And if it gets a rock chip, okay, big deal. Same with the blue car here too. That car's not mint condition at all, but it's really nice. They're both fantastic 10-foot cars. 10 feet away, they look awesome in the video. This car looks fantastic in the video. So does this one. And in real life, they're not that far off. But you come up closer, you can see a little ding right there. You can see a little spider crack there and shit, and stuff like this. But who cares? So if you're looking at buying one of these cars, look for a cheap one, even if it's this. Okay, like let me tell you about this right here. When I very first found this car, my original plan for this car was I was going to build a Terminator out of the V6, minus the engine and transmission. All these cars are, Certifit had the front and rear bumpers, the hood, and I forget if they had the trunk load or not. But it would cost me about $2,500 for all the body parts, for Terminator body parts. A friend of a guy I knew, painted cars on the side. He said $950, he'll paint the whole car Sonic Blue. All I would have to do is sand down and fix all the rust on the car myself. That's the deal. Now, I wasn't going to do a great job. I'm not a body guy. But I could have made it look, 90, 95% good. Then I was going to buy the Cobra Terminator cluster and then the steering wheel insert for the airbag, and then the Terminator seats, and then I was going to put an 8.8 in the back, and then run a dual exhaust to an off-road X, and then what I was going to do with the motor is I was going to keep the V6, but I was going to put the blower on it and then build the V6. So make it a supercharged V6. Keep the T5, because I was like, at the time, I didn't know if they were, made out of glass, but I was going to keep the V6. And then I'd bought Terminator wheels. These were the original set of wheels I bought for this car. I literally had this car for like 2 months, and I bought this set of wheels from a guy in Germantown for $246, and 2 of the tires were brand spanking new at the time. I put those on here. It looked awesome. I was like, cool. So I was going to end up building this. Well, like I say, I never got that far. I started it. I was going to go and buy a guide cluster and then the airbag I was going to buy. But it ended up, I found the Mach 1. And obviously, just being honest, that's a better car than the V6s. Nothing against the V6. I love my V6 cars. They're awesome. I'd buy them again in a heartbeat. but the money's better spent going to that than trying to fix this. And that's where I'm at right now of, I got so many projects right now. And yes, I hear it every day from people, oh, why don't you sell half them off, this and that? Yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to. I know I'm not going to. I have a shot to put them in. I can leave them in here. Nobody can see my stuff. Nobody knows where I live. No neighbors to complain about it. So, you know, I'm just going to fix them and drive them. I've been fixing the blue car mostly because I want to get the blue car up to where the Mach 1 is. And then, you know, get all the cars up to where the Mach 1 is now as far as drivability goes. Once they go up to that point, then start going up past that and going different directions for different builds. This will end up being built into a good street car for street use. And then the 2-valve will be built into more of a hot street drag car as far as for like street drags and shit like that at like Union Grove and crap, and like the no preps. Nothing extravagant, you know, I'm not going to build a 1,000 horsepower car, but just a nice NA 2-valve, you know, cammed, all that shit like that, ported heads and crap, and, you know, probably like 400 at the wheels is my goal. With nitrous, I might throw some nitrous at it too. But, you know, nothing radical, just a nice driving, sounding, cool car. That car there, I'm still debating what I want to do. It's an automatic. The more I work on it, the more I want to build it. And I have so many parts laying around that it would not be much to build that new nice car. So I probably wound up doing like, I'm thinking maybe a drag build that, honestly. I mean, it needs an engine. That motor runs great. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have all winter to figure it out. So either it's going to be a nice daily driver car or a drag car. It's not going to be in the between. It's going to be one or the other. Either it's going to be a built car or a nice driving car. It's quiet, though not quiet, but you know, that just rides good and drives good. The red car in the garage, the V6, that's going to be a built V6, somewhat race car. And then this will just be a daily driver car that I can throw. This already has snow tires, but this has better snow tires. So I'm going to put those onto this car later on and be done. This is a 32-minute long video. Sorry. I know it's kind of long, but that's my long story about how I've gotten to this point. Like I say, if you're looking at wanting a Mustang, it looks impossible. If you don't have money, it looks like it's hard to get one. And with the market being the way it is right now, it is hard. However, if you can fix stuff and not just do an oil change and air filter, but if you could actually do real engine work and stuff on a car, even if it's not rebuild an engine, but if you can do an intake manifold, you know, brakes, exhaust work, shit like that, look for Mustangs with bad engines or bad transmissions, stuff like that. You can get them for nothing. I bought 2 moderately decent cars for less than $1,000. Okay, I paid $840. I think I paid for the gray car, and $800 for the blue car. Being honest, the blue car is a way better deal. I got a steal on that car, 5-speed. Now again, needed a ton of work, but it was in better shape than the gray car was, less miles, and I actually was able to drive that car with minimal effort versus this one here. This had 1 dead cylinder, that had 5 dead cylinders. Either way it goes, there's deals out there. You just got to find them. Don't hesitate to buy one, because at the end of the day, there's always a guy like me somewhere. So if you end up buying one that's got a bad engine or something, like, oh crap, I want my money back, hit me up. Seriously, if you guys are watching this and you've got a Mustang, V6 or V8, any condition, title or not, and you want the fucker gone, hit me up in the comments below. PM me, DM me, whatever ME you want to do. We can work something out if you're local or close to Wisconsin. If you're in, you know, Ohio or something, I'm not going to drive that far to get a car. If you're somewhere by Illinois or Wisconsin, hit me up. You know, if you need help on your Mustang, hit me up too. I have a lot of knowledge. I'm not an expert. I don't know everything, but I've had like 20 Mustangs in my life. All different years, all different engines, transmissions, all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, so all right. This is a long video. I apologize for the length, but I want to make kind of this a story. So if you're still watching this, then obviously you like the channel enough to watch it. Subscribe. I'd appreciate that. It doesn't cost you shit to do it. Check out my Patreon. I'll try and post a link down in the description. Otherwise, check my other videos out. They've got them. But yeah, so, all right. We'll talk to you guys later.